Hi Scorpios, happy birthday and welcome to your November 2018 tarot reading. First, before we get into this specific reading, let me thank you guys for the October reading. You guys had the most views and new subscribers, so thank you for that. And as a thank you, I'm actually going to do a bonus reading for you guys, a bonus love reading. I won't do that until I'm done with all of the 12 signs general readings, so it might be a week after these get posted, but that would be at most, I would say. Should be within a week that these are posted. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, thanks again. And as far as this reading goes, it's a Celtic cross spread as always. And then you guys got some extra cards. You got an extra card in the past position, present position, the environment's influence on the situation position, and in the outcome. So there's a lot of messages to get to. Let's get started. In the main situation position, we have the Nine of Wands. So this is actually a card to me that represents 10 to 20 degrees of Sagittarius. So that would represent around, let's say, the first 10 days of December, roughly. So it could be that you're working on something that you're planning on wrapping up around that time. And, you could just be feeling a bit overwhelmed with it right now. If we look at the artwork, you see the bandage on his head. Doesn't exactly look like he's too thrilled to be doing what he's doing, but at the same time, it looks like he's put a lot of work in there. If we look at, there's 8 wands already standing there. And it could just be that feeling where you feel like you have everything in a row, everything straight, and then something else pops up, right? And it's that mentality like, are you kidding me right now? Like, why? Every time I think I'm done, something else pops up. Or, the energies that are at play here, like going back to the astrology again, I see this as fixed energy blending with Sagittarius energy. So, you could see there would be a clash there. Sagittarius is mutable energy and ruled by Jupiter, so they're very much a get up and go type energy. So, if it's just being forced to be patient with something, like, okay, I have to wait until this time to wrap this up, when they would much rather get it done now, that could be what you're feeling right now. And in the challenge or obstacle position, we have another 9, and that's the 9 of Cups. So what it could be saying is a few things. It could be that this is something you're doing that you view as a pathway to your wish fulfillment, right? So you're like, okay, I'm not necessarily happy I'm doing this, but I know by the time I get done with it, I'll be where I want to be. I'll shift from that 9 of, wands energy, looking uncomfortable with the bandage on my head, to actually being able to kick back, enjoy myself, right? This guy definitely looks like he's enjoying himself more than the guy in the 9 of wands. So it could just be saying that's what it is. The challenge is for you to continue to put in the work to achieve your wish, or, the challenge is to remember that, yes, this sucks right now, but the overall goal is for you to eventually arrive at this point. And it could just be you feeling a bit out of your element, because this is wands and this is cups energy. So it could just be saying, you might want to get back in touch with your roots in that regard. Another thing that comes to mind too is, here's an example. Let's say you work retail, right? Given the timeline that I said this card represents, that's around the time when, at least in the U.S., the Black Friday sales start, and basically the Christmas shopping season is kicked off. And if you're in retail or even in the service industry where people start doing holiday parties and everything, you get a lot busier. All of a sudden you start getting more hours, and the store gets a lot busier, the restaurants, whatever the case may be, get a lot busier. So you might feel a little overwhelmed, and you might just be like, I'd rather just be able to kick back and enjoy some time with my friends and family, right? Because people who aren't in those fields, they just have their fixed schedule, 9 to 5s or whatever the case may be. They don't have to worry about that, the crazy hours that go into it, or their business getting crazy busy or anything like that. So could just be saying that too. but it definitely looks like you're busy and working towards something. The good part of that, though, is in the foundation position, we have the Ten of Pentacles. So this could just be pointing to financial success, or the very least stability. And, if not finances too, we could also just point to a stable home and family life as well. So that's a good thing. One thing I will point out, though, is a bit of a cautionary thing that I see with this card sometimes. Not always, but it comes to my mind sometimes, and this being one of them, given what we were just talking about with the crazy work hours and everything. If we look at this guy here, right, the older man, at least we would think some people see this as this is one family. That's the grandfather, his grandkids, and then their child there, and the dogs. And, he built up his home and his career and everything, and now they're coming to visit him, whatever the case may be. But another way I look at it is this could also be someone who did dedicate themselves so fiercely to their career, and it got them to financial success. But now they're sitting there and thinking back, like, was it all worth it, So this could just be them looking at, it might not be family or even someone they know. They could just be looking at a young couple and asking themselves, was it right for me to plug away at work like that when I could have, maybe tried to find a balance between work and love, or, just even pursue love in general. So that could be what's at play there too. That could be what it is. Maybe you're trying to find that balance between your work life and your love life, and that's the challenge. Another reason that I could see that playing out is in the past position. We have the Eight of Wands and the Five of Swords. So this card actually represents the first 10 degrees of Aquarius, and then this represents the first 10 degrees of Sagittarius. So the last big thing that I could think about that happened in the first 5 degrees of Aquarius, was there was that eclipse, the full moon eclipse. I think that was the end of July, if I'm not mistaken. And that would have been in your 4th house, so it could have been, you could have had conflict with someone in your home or family, even if you don't live with them necessarily, just family members, you might have had a conflict. And maybe it was because of you being so busy, they might have been like, we never see you anymore, what's going on? And that seems like something that may seem more likely to happen in a romantic relationship rather than family. Family understands, all right, we'll see you every now and again. They don't have the expectation to see you often, but, maybe in a relationship and there was a conflict about, well, you're working all the time, I don't get to see you anymore, or maybe you were saying that to someone that you're with, and at the end of the day, the conflict got a little ugly. The Five of Swords energy is usually about winning the battle, quote unquote, but at what cost, right? Like if we look at them, it looks like he has that smirk on his face, right, as he's looking at the other 2 people put their swords down and walk away. So it's like, at what cost, So this could have just been with that energy, that eclipse energy that happened. That would have been one time where that might have happened for you, since it's in the past position. And I mean, it did pass those degrees of Aquarius, I think, last month too, so could have been more recent than that eclipse, but definitely looks like there was some conflict. And if that's the case, this Nine of Wands energy, with the bandage on his head, he's looking in that direction. Could just be saying that you're not over that conflict, that even if you were on the quote-unquote winning end of the conflict, it still might be bothering you. And maybe that's what this Nine of Cups is saying, is it's like you'd much rather reconnect with the person. So that could be what's at play there. If that is what's at play there, in the present position, we have pretty good support for that, because we have the Six of Cups and we have the Temperance card. So the Temperance card is actually the major arcana card for Sagittarius. So maybe this is saying, at the end of the month might be when this happens, when the sun shifts into Sagittarius. Some of you, this could be saying you're dealing with a Sagittarius as well. That's a possibility. Um, but let's not forget that the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, which is still in your sign, and it's about to move on to Sagittarius early in November. And usually they say, a sign like, rather a transit like that, when the planet's about to leave your sign, it does leave you some kind of a blessing behind, especially Jupiter. So maybe that'll bring this person back into your life, whether you're the one who reconnects with them or they reconnect with you. I sometimes refer to this card as the being the bigger person card, because if you look at them, it looks like there's that size difference. So if that was a conflict that you had with someone you cared about in the past, maybe you're going to extend the olive branch to them, If that's the case, it looks like it would go well and it would be received well. And, for some, it can be reconnecting with a romantic partner from the past, an ex that you never got closure with, let's say. And that would be supported by the astrology energy too, because Venus is in retrograde right now. So that can bring people up from your past. And even if they don't physically come back, if there's just something you've been hung up on, you could just get closure in some way with these energies at play. You might just think back on them and that helps you get over it. Or maybe you hear about them that, oh, okay, maybe they're married now or something like that. And that might help you put it behind you and say, okay, it wasn't meant to be, In the near future position, we have the Tower. So no one ever wants to see this card in their reading, especially not on their birthday. But, I actually was tempted when I first pulled this card to pull a clarifier to see what was going on with it. But then I decided to hold off a bit. And when I pulled the rest of the cards of the reading, I got a pretty good vibe for what was going on with this. And there's a few different ways it could play out. But the first one that came to my mind, especially with Venus being retrograde and in your sign no less, is this could be a situation where there is someone from your past that you've been thinking about all these years, right? Could be as many as 12 years, believe it or not, because with it being with the Temperance card, and like I said, Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius, so it's back in your sign. The last time it was here was around 12, 13 years ago. So, and then you look at the image of those people, it looks like, young kids to an extent. So, these could have been people that you've known for years and years, that you've had a thing for. Maybe, you lost contact with each other or whatever the case may be. And with the Venus being retrograde in your sign, you either do find a way to reach out to them, which is definitely easier these days with social networking, right? Or, you have thoughts about them again. And then the Tower energy to me represents that you put the illusion behind you. What I mean by that is, you might have built them up to be this big thing, right? Oh, you know how that could be when you have a crush from way back and you think about them. You might idealize how things would play out in your head. So maybe you're thinking about them during this Venus retrograde, you reach out to them, and then maybe, 10, 15 minutes into the conversation, you're like, wow, yeah, this person's not right for me at all, right? And then you're like, that's it. So that's the Tower there. It doesn't have to be anything crazy serious. It could just be, okay, I had this image of them built up in my head about how great our relationship would have been, reconnected with them, and realized, yeah, we're definitely not even remotely close to being right for each other now, And, I have to at least put it out there that if, for those of you, even if you are in a committed relationship, if that's the energy that's been at play, maybe that's what's been causing some conflict in your relationship. Maybe you've still been hung up on this person from your past. And, you just reconnect, not necessarily cheating, but, maybe somehow you guys come in contact with one another, have a conversation, and it helps you realize, you know what, yeah, that person wasn't right for me at all. And then maybe that helps you appreciate the relationship that you're in more. That's a possibility. And for some of you, it could just be that it actually does make you realize, you know what, this person I'm with now isn't cutting it. I have to get out of that relationship. So that could be where the Tower comes from. But in basically most of those scenarios I'm getting, though, it would be you that would cause this to happen. That sounds bad, but I mean, as far as you would put it into play, like you would knowingly want that to happen, one way or the other. But it looks like either way it plays out, whether, like I said, it's you deciding, okay, reconnecting with this person makes me realize that the one I'm with now isn't cutting it. Or maybe if you've been single, but you haven't really been getting into relationships because you've just always had this thing for this one person from your past, and then you reconnect with them in some way and realize, wow, yeah, they're not right for me at all. That could be the thing that snaps you out of it and helps you move forward. Either way it plays out, it looks good, because in your position, the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Ace of Cups. So this could be, making a love offer to someone, but not as much to me as like the Page of Cups would be more of a tangible offer. So this could just be a thought in your mind right now. So maybe now you put that issue, whatever it was, behind you with that Tower moment coming up, and now you feel ready to move forward with someone else, right? So like I said, if this was a conflict that you had with the person you're in a relationship with, this could be maybe you extending love to them, If it was that you were just so busy with work and you finally say, you know what, let me take a step back and dedicate a little bit more of my time to my love life too. So this could just be you reaching out in that regard, making an olive branch towards them, right? Like, you know what, I'm sorry I haven't been around. I took a couple days off. Let's, go somewhere for the weekend. Could just be something minor like that. I do have to point out, though, whenever I see the Ace of Cups in upright, I see this as a pregnancy card sometimes as well. So just putting that out there for you guys. The symbolism to me, that just reminds me of, the point of conception, basically. That would be, that's usually what makes me think of pregnancy, and it has played out that way in some of the readings I've done. So if that's what you're looking to do, by all means, pursue it. It looks like you had some good luck with that. If it isn't, also keep that in mind too, and take whatever precautions you need to do to avoid it if that's not what you're looking for. And the position of the environment, influence on the situation, we have the Ten of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles. So especially with these two cards at play in combination with that Ace of Cups, I mean, it's, pretty clear there. You see the two kids. So going back to that pregnancy theme, like I said, if that's not what you guys are about right now in this point in your life, just keep that in mind and take the precautions that you need to take to avoid that. But for those of you who do want that, looks like you should have pretty good luck this month making that happen. But yeah, let's just say, going back to these relationship scenarios, that you're in one relationship, but maybe you've been getting into conflicts, you haven't been appreciating that person as much, thinking about someone from the past that you've always had a thing for. Some way you end up reconnecting with that person and realize, wow, I don't know what I saw in them all this time, but I'm over that now. And you rededicate yourself to your current relationship, which results in them also, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups. Looks like the relationship would progress positively from there. For others of you, if this is a person that you've been having conflicts with, like I said, with the Nine of Wands there, it could have been that this is just something that would happen repeatedly, especially the way he's looking at those 8 Wands and the, what was the other card there? And the 5 of Swords underneath there, looking back at that saying, okay, when's the next argument going to happen, right? And your challenge is you're not feeling fulfilled in that relationship. So for those of you where you do decide, I need to get away from that relationship, it's like once you get rid of that relationship that doesn't fit your life anymore, you make room for one that does, you know, and it might be you that actually extends the offer, or this could just be saying by getting out of a relationship that doesn't serve you, it allows the universe to, you know, bring more love offers your way that would suit you. And then if that's the case, it looks like it could progress pretty quickly. Um, and I know I've kind of gotten away from the work angle that we were discussing for a bit, but this could even be work related as well, which is to say that, you know, you're plugging away at work and you're thinking to yourself, oh man, I really wish I had this type of job as opposed to the one I'm in now, you know, it would have been so much better. You actually try to get into that field, you know, something you used to be passionate about, and then realize, you know what, back then it might have been good for me, but now this isn't the right fit. And it helps you appreciate, you know, and feel reinvigorated with your job now, and then you get rewarded for that by rededicating yourself to the job. That's another way it could play out, certainly. But I mean, I do see a pretty clear split. Like, there's definitely some work vibes there, but I also see relationship vibes. And for some of you, again, the struggle is trying to balance the two. That's why we have these cards, you know. The Nine of Cups as the obstacle with the Nine of Wands. So that's what I'm seeing. But it looks like if you do end up rededicating yourself, you know, you put in more love energy, the other person might, you know, end up bringing more financial energy, or just this could be tangible, you know, stability, basically. So let's say you extend the olive branch to this person that you've been on and off with, and by doing so, they might offer to move in together, right? Like, all right, you know what, let's move in together. Let's take that next step. So that could be what these cards are referring to there. For others of you, if it's that you have wanted to start a family, right? Maybe that's what the conflict's been about, or maybe that's why you've been working so hard, because you're like, all right, I want to eventually start a family. I need to start saving up money, right? And maybe that's been an issue where you guys haven't been on the same page about that for a while. And maybe now they finally will be, you know, because either you or they have more financial security, so they feel comfortable to say, all right, let's move forward. Let's have, you know, let's try to have a baby now. That's a possibility. And with the Queen of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck here, I could see that going either way. This could be, again, you dedicating yourself to your finances and focusing on your finances. And I could also see that, you know, I sometimes see that as a pregnancy card too, to an extent. Not as much as the Empress, but, you know, the way she's holding that coin in her lap, that just makes me think of fertility sometimes as well. In the hopes or fears position, we have the Hermit card. So we actually had this card come up in the Cancer reading too. I don't think they had even one other card that you guys have in your spread, but they did have this card and in the same spot. So if you guys, let's say you're Scorpio Sun, but you're Cancer Moon or Cancer Rising, you might want to check out their video, or if you've been dealing with a Cancer, check out their video. Could just be a coincidence, because like I said, nothing else in the spread looked the same, but having that card pop up in the same spot definitely sticks out to me. But this could just be saying that with all this going on, I mean, it definitely looks like a lot of activity. Like I said, whether you're working too hard and not having time for your love life, or you're trying to juggle working hard and your love life, and you're just feeling a little, you know, run down, this could just be saying you want some time to reflect, you know, a little time to unwind, some quiet time to actually maybe process that moment, or, you know, just relax a bit. In the outcome, this was a pretty odd pairing, but I figured out what it was almost as soon as I put the cards down. So in the outcome position, you'll see what I mean. We have the Four of Wands. Pretty good card. And then we also have the Four of Cups. You're like, how are these two cards coming out together, right? I mean, at least that was my first reaction. I almost laughed at it, actually. But after I thought about it for a bit, it actually started to make sense to me. Ironically, I was actually talking to someone on Instagram about the Four of Cups the other day. And to me, the Four of Cups, you could see the person doesn't look happy, right? Like they have their arms crossed. There's three cups there. They don't look pleased at all. There's a fourth one there. Either they don't even see it or they just have no interest in getting it one way or the other. But the issue is they're not moving away from it, right? It's like, okay, well, you're not fulfilled here. You're not happy with this. Then why not go after what you would be happy with, right? So to me, that could represent that stuck energy where it's like, you're not happy in a situation, you're not fulfilled. Okay, well, if you just stay in that, you're going to get more of that, right? So, oh, I'm not happy with these three cups. Well, there's going to be more coming. And if you think about the card that comes after that, it's the Five of Cups, where you see the person looking at the three cups build, and, they definitely don't look happy about that either. And then there's two more behind them. So, to me, that could represent that stuck energy where you're, in something that you're not fulfilled with, but for whatever reason, you're not moving on at the same time. So that's why I thought about these energies too, in the context of maybe, leaving one relationship for another, or leaving one job behind for another, or balancing better, okay, I need to stop putting so much time into work because my love life is suffering, whatever the case may be. To me, this again says that you're unfulfilled in some way here, but you're not necessarily moving on from it. Compare that with the Four of Wands. These people look a lot more fulfilled, right? So, to me, that's what it represents. It's saying that what I feel it is, anyway, just looking at the spread as a whole, is you moving from this energy of saying, okay, I'm not really fulfilled here, but at the same time, you're not moving away from it and going after what you do want, to moving towards this energy, which is actually going for what you want, getting what you want. And the reason I say that I see it as progressing from the Four of Cups to the Four of Wands is the fact that you have the Ace of Cups here, and then immediately after that, in the environment's influence, we have the Ace of Pentacles and Ten of Cups. So I see it a lot more likely that, and with the Tower here too, like I said, the Tower, it's going to be one of those things, I think I said it to Gemini last month, that like that saying goes, let go or be dragged. I see it as one of those things where if you're not fulfilled, now's the time to cut ties with what you're not fulfilled with, move in another direction. Or, like if it's a job, that's easier said than done, right? You got to pay your bills. So if you're unfulfilled in that regard, at least putting a plan in place, and that could be what aces are too. Their ideas. All right, I'm going to put this plan in place. You might not be doing it right now, but you've set a firm plan in place. Might be time for you to do that. And then either by doing that, or if, for those of you, if you actually do put it off and something comes along karmically to separate that from your life, eventually you end up where you want it to be anyway. So, however, rough some of the reading ended up looking, I think overall definitely it looks like it's going to play out in your favor. Might be a little bumpy at points, but overall it should be pretty good. And one thing I would say too is looking at this card, just to be safe, if you have black tourmaline, just try to carry it with you this month. It could help protect you from any crazy energies that might be going on. All right, and now let's look at your oracle card. Your oracle card is happy, happy. And it won't focus, but yeah, hopefully you could see that. And then there's the artwork for it. There we go, now it's focusing. And 26 is the number if that has any significance for you. So, could just be the oracle deck saying happy birthday to you guys, but we'll read the messages. Alright, it says essential meanings. Joy and contentment a sense of fulfillment, a feeling that all is well. The Oracle's message: your desires are effortlessly fulfilled now. Find joy in the present moment, whatever is happening, and be satisfied with things as they are. You're free from the shackles of longing and able to experience the liberation that comes from actually being happy moment to moment, for you have chosen happiness over yearning for it. Now is the time for feeling joy for the sake of joy and experiencing contentment. None of this is because of something outside yourself. Your happiness is a result of your being at one with Spirit's plan for your life. All is well. The tide is in for now. Enjoy playfully splashing in it. So the main takeaway from that one was, where'd it go? Oh, I lost it. Hold on. I was going to say, it definitely reminded me of the Four of Wands and the Four of Cups energy. Oh, yeah, it says, you have chosen happiness over yearning for it. So that's definitely, to me, pointing to these two cards, if nothing else, you know. Choosing happiness, right? That's what this Four of Wands energy looks like right here. Versus yearning for it, right? This person knows they're not happy, but okay, well, what do you want to do about it, right? So that message definitely seems to align with what we see in the spread as far as that goes anyway. And I mean, like we said too, the surrounding, you know, the Ace of Cups, Ten of Cups, it's definitely some good energies in here. The Tower is the only one that really stood out, but we already covered where that could be coming into play. All right, and the relationship message says, there are moments in a relationship when you just feel good about whom you're with, and you know that your heart is wide open to befriend, to love, and to care for another, without wanting anything in return. This is the kind of happy that you just want to share. The appearance of this card in the reading tells you that joy and contentment are here now, not somewhere else off in the future. The grass is greenest right where you stand. Be grateful and delight in your relationship, and if you're seeking one, be happy now. Happiness attracts more of it, like bees to honey. So that actually resonates really well too, because what came to mind for me with that was thinking about how it says here, your happiness is here now, not somewhere else off in the future. Like I was saying, you know, maybe that points to, like I said, if you had this thing for someone in your past that, you know, you just haven't been able to let go of, and you haven't been able to really fully dedicate yourself to the relationship. Like I said, not necessarily cheating, but you always just have that thought, that what if thought with some person from your past. Something comes along to give you that closure, whether you actually connect with them or you just start to see them more clearly. You know, maybe you hear something about them that you're like, wow, that's a total turnoff, and then that's that Tower moment. You know, it's not anything physically happening. It's more of, okay, well, now I got this clarity on this connection that I've been holding on to from the past, and I realize, wow, I'm actually way better off where I am now, right? And then that's where you rededicate yourself in that regard. All right, and for those of you that this resonated as finances, we'll read this last. The prosperity message, it says, this is a time to take pride in your accomplishments. You're doing good work, providing exceptional service, and are well compensated for it. The world rains gratitude upon you, and you're happy with the results of your efforts and creativity. Isn't it amazing to consider all that you have done? Remember your partnership with Spirit in this moment too. Your soul has always known you could accomplish anything if it brought you joy. So, your soul's known you could accomplish anything if it brought you joy. That could be, again, pointing to the Nine of Wands. You know, maybe you've been working hard. Like I said, I think I mentioned in the beginning, that it could just be pointing you working really hard at something, and you know that eventually it's going to lead to wish fulfillment for you, but right now you just feel like, oh, I can't, you know, see that light at the end of the tunnel. You know, you just feel like it's just so much work. Like, you know, maybe going back to school, let's say. you have a crazy class schedule, and you're like, all right. And maybe you're working on the side too that'll pay for it, but all right, I got to really grind away for however long, but then once I graduate, I'm going to get a really good job, whatever the case may be. Or just trying to get promoted at the job you're in, Like, okay, I'm going to really double down on my work, maybe get a promotion. It could be anything along those lines. So I think we'll wrap up there for the month. If you guys want a personal reading, just look at the About section of my page to find out how you could book that with me. Happy birthday once again. Like I said, thanks for the likes and the views in October. And I should be posting that love video, like I said, within a week of when this one gets posted. All right, so I'll see you guys in December. Bye.